Okay, guys, welcome back. Another episode of Rise of Tiamat. With me this week is Mike, Scott, Jay, and Dan. Last time we played, the party finished going through the area of Didarius's tomb known as, and I'm going to look this up because this is you guys. It's called Stkal. It's SS apostrophe TK apostrophe AL.
Makes sense for snake languages.
So you guys finished going through Stikal and met with the high priestess there who had Verum. Supposedly his soul had been temporarily removed from his body, but you guys were able to see through that was bullshit. And in fact, he was unconscious from getting the shit kicked out of him. You guys healed him up and with him under his own power left Stikal and Didarius's tomb, where you began to question Verum, who was taken aback a bit by your guys' lack of understanding, yet large effect on the cult's plans at this point. You guys are the most ill-informed monkey wrench ever.
Yep.
My fault.
You guys then set out back for Waterdeep. Along the way, on your way out of the Serpent Hills, the party was ambushed by a group of assassins under the employ of the Cult of the Dragon. Through the use of some very powerful magical artifacts, they were able to incapacitate the party long enough to take out the one member who didn't get chained down by the nets, Dr. Hole, and also to take Tony out and take the Black Dragon mask back for the cult, at which point they retreated into the woods and through the use of another magical artifact were able to get away. Over the course of the next few days, you guys healed up, made it to Waterdeep, where you spent a few days. You delivered Verum to the council. They've taken a few days to question him, and they have they've told you that you can hang out in Waterdeep for now. They will contact you when a council is going to be happening, which should be happening as soon as they finish getting information from Verum. During that time, you guys have had time to shop around Waterdeep, find things that you were looking for. Some of you were looking for some slightly obscure items. For instance, Dr. Hole, you were able to commission and pick up a very interestingly crafted glaive. It has been meticulously crafted to make it light enough to be used by those who rely on their dexterity rather than their strength. And great efforts have been taken to make sure that doesn't sacrifice the structural integrity of it. Hagrid found himself what is essentially the poor man's Mjolnir, and picked up some potions. Leovan probably bought the most things out of anybody. He bought several different potions, a couple different magical items, as well as it's just the potions and the items, right?
Yeah, it's just potions and like a couple little things.
Yeah, a couple little things. We'll see what kind of monkey wrenches Laven's going to throw at me later in the campaign with some of the stuff that I gave him. And Tony's able to track down someone in the city who was able to craft a longsword similar in nature to the Dragon Slayer arrows that Macatha Crimson gave to Crispin, which were so instrumental in battle against Arothader. As the effects of your what's the potions that you use, Dr. Hole, what are those called again?
Mutagens.
Mutagen, yeah. The restoration mutagen had worn off because of being taken out by the
knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, by the assassin. Your progress on regenerating your arm ended about here on your forearm. You're pretty close to the end
don't
of the
worry.
limb.
I got it.
So during this downtime, while your quick lave was being crafted, you were able to track down a couple different holy places of healing within the city of Waterdeep. You arrive at one such place, and you are greeted with sideways glances, people kind of sort of crossing the aisle to try to keep a wide berth from you as you come in. You obviously you've described in the past how your hands are blistered and burned. You also only have one whole arm right now, and those who are devout in their faith, those who convene with the gods in order to provide healing can see the sort of the taint of evil on you. So as you're walking through the church, one of the clerics comes up and stops you. He says, "What is your business here?"
I've come asking for aid. I suffered a war wound and was hoping to have my arm restored so I may go back to protecting the realm.
And what work is it you exactly do, Demon Touched?
Have you heard of the Cult of the Dragon?
There have been rumblings.
I am the one that quells the rumblings, along with a few other adventurers, but Waterdeep, Neverwinter, Baldur's Gate, none of them stand a chance unless we mount resistance to them.
Make a persuasion check.
Well, this is gonna. 17 minus 1, 16.
The cleric, he stops for a while, thinking about what you've said, weighing what you've said against what you are. He says,
Hello.
What?
Hello.
Well, if you are who you say you are, and you have the boldness to enter this holy place, being what you are, well, the gods would not smile upon me very well if I turned you away.
At this point, I go into my pouch and I grab 100 gold coins and go, this is not a payment. This is an offer of appreciation for helping me accomplish a mission that helps us all. And I drop it down.
He looks at the 100 gold, a bit wide-eyed. I think oftentimes in Dungeons and Dragons, because of the costs of magical items and how much treasure you guys found during the Horde of the Dragon Queen, we forget how much things really cost. At the sight of the 100 gold hitting the table, his eyes go wide, and he looks to you, Dr. Hole, and he says, "While you know you cannot buy your way into the good graces of the gods,
that was never my intent.
You have certainly proven yourself to be a generous individual. The community will benefit greatly from this wealth that you've bestowed upon us. Now, please, we have a chamber in the back. It's going to take some time. There will be many of us clerics working on it, but I believe that we can probably help you out with your infirmary."
Thank you.
So it's going to take. It takes about 2.5 days from the time that you are in the church during that time, you are essentially kept in this sort of back room while they being the clerics, work tirelessly round the clock. The whole 2.5 days, there is no less than 2 clerics in there working on healing you at a time. At time, the pain is great. It's different than the constant sort of burning that the mutagen kind of grants you with that rapid itching healing sort of thing.
Yep.
And this is more like to pull a sort of a reference from Harry Potter. It's like when Harry's arm gets shattered by Lockhart, and the nurse uses that Skelligro.
Yep.
So it's an incredibly painful process.
That's why you never trust a white guy named Gil.
And it takes some time, but you are eventually able to regain the full anatomy of your hand and its faculties. After which you're able to leave, get your glaive, and continue about your business. During the couple days, guys, where you're sort of milling about the city, at times you're together, at times you're separate. What is there anything that during this downtime you would like to do? I know I didn't really ask you about this in advance, but like Tony, what would you be doing on a couple of days off, given what happened on the road? Laven, what are you doing? Hagrid, what sort of things would you do as a paladin during a couple of days downtime? Obviously, you're not going to be able to, start up a soup kitchen and run it like you did in Akre, but
Tony would be going around making sure all of his weapons are sharpened and up to par and getting completely shit-faced and telling everybody that not a single one of those bastards is going to live and that he's going to brand every single one of the fuckers.
So Tony is evangelizing for the adventuring party.
Wait, hold on. Not anybody in the bar is going to live, or not anybody in the...
He doesn't specify.
Oh, God.
They see a drunk, angry-looking gnome who has the bearings of a barbarian and mentality of a Goliath, and just choose not to fuck with him.
Well,
all right.
I stay away from...
you?
Yeah, I stay away from the City Watch.
Hagrid,
I have a
what's
question
up?
about the hammer.
Yeah.
Do I have to attune that?
Yes, you do have to attune to it.
Okay. If I unattune to the trident, do I still get to use its benefits as a weapon, but not as like the
so essentially with the trident being unattuned to it, you cannot command the fish. It's just at that point a magical trident.
Okay.
However, I will say this because I'm sure it will come up. The Thunder Hammer does count as a magical weapon. It is it's modeled off of the Flame Tongue sword in D&D. It basically actually does the exact same thing, but instead of fire, it's lightning, and instead of a sword, it's a hammer.
Which is just odd. They call it a thunder hammer, but it shoots a lightning bolt.
So, Laven or Hagrid, is there anything that you would like to do during the downtime?
Well, sure. I would like to spend some time communing with Kiri Jolith, just kind of reaffirming my connection to my deity and asking for aid, helping me continue to do that kind of work, and also attune to the Thunderhammer.
Sure. How about you, Laven?
I want to... What am I doing? We're just kind of in the city, right?
Yeah, you basically have unfettered access to the entirety of the city of Waterdeep at this point.
What are you doing? Yes, after I bought my new stuff, just in the middle of where everybody can see me. I want to kind of mess around with the bag of tricks.
Okay.
And just see if I can, pull something out, throw it out.
Okay, sure. So the way that works, I believe, is you roll, or I roll, on the associated table.
Yep.
And you have a gray bag of tricks, correct?
Yes.
All right, hang on. Let me pull this up again really quick. Okay. So for the gray bag of tricks, let's see here. On your first fuzzy removal, you toss the bit of fuzz up in the air and it lands on the ground as a badger.
Okay. Did anybody see me do this?
Would you would you have done this where people would?
Yeah,
You were not trying to hide.
No, I was just out in the middle of the town because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, people saw you do it. Let's see. Kind of gauge their reactions. So, some people see you do it. There's like some little kids who are like, "Whoa!" But like, the parents, the caretakers of the children, and people who are of a less adventurous spirit, they kind of like quickly cross from the other side of the square from you, stuff like that. What you've done isn't common. It's clearly not a malignant sort of magic, but it's definitely not normal.
I tell it to just follow people.
To just follow people?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I do for the day.
For the day? Okay. Let's see
here.
here.
Badger to follow people.
About an hour later of you've sent it off to go follow people. About an hour later, you come across a dead badger in an alleyway.
Oh.
It looks as though it may have been removed by the city guard.
All right.
Let's see here. Okay. Laven, during your adventures through the city, as you're kind of wandering about the city and just taking in the sights, being a druid, you're still not really accustomed to city life. This is actually only the fourth time that you've been in a large populous area, and 3 of those occurrences are Waterdeep. But during your travelings, Leiston, Erlenthar, your old friend from Greenest, actually, he finds you, and you see him walk up. He looks tired. He's the leader of the Harpers. He's been doing a lot of work, and he's also essentially the liaison between you guys and the Council of Waterdeep. You remember he's sent 2 ravens to teleport you guys places. So you see he looks tired. You also notice that his right arm has, he's a healthy younger half elf monk, but his right arm has withered. And he comes up to you on the street and he says, Laven, my friend, how are you?
I was doing great, and then somebody killed my badger.
Your badger? I don't recall a badger being in the party.
He's new.
He's new. Well, he was new.
Too soon. Too soon.
Fuck him up.
My sincerest apologies, Laven. I did not mean to be so crass.
I did.
So I believe that tomorrow at noon, the Council of Waterdeep will be convening to discuss what we've learned from Verum and what our next steps will be going forward. Obviously, the council has requested that your party be in attendance.
Naturally.
How are you adjusting to the city?
I told you about the badger, right?
Has it all been fire and brimstone for you?
Oh no. There's so much stuff here. Not used to that.
Is a very busy city.
But I was able to buy some interesting things.
Well, that's good. That's at least as long as you've got the gold, spend it, right?
Do you have any gold?
Do you need help spending
No.
it?
I had given most of my money to you as payment for helping me back in Greenest.
That's right.
Being a monk and the leader of the Harpers, I don't require much for my living arrangements, so I don't have any gold on me.
What about silver?
I wasn't gonna rob you or anything.
No, I live lavishly through those friends of mine who have the gold to spend.
All right.
Make rich friends. God.
Well, I'm off.
Who are these benefactors?
Sorry. What did you say, Landon?
He said, "Who are the benefactors that you hang out with?"
Well, on that note, I'm off. I'm actually running errands for the day. If I come across any of your party, I will let them know about the meeting. But please pass the word along to your friends that we hope to see them tomorrow at midday.
Of course.
And he kind of bows and notices that his arm was showing, so he kind of like tucks it into his his robes, like the monk garb. He like kind of hides it in some folds and walks off.
I checked
So,
if my arms are exposed.
What's that?
I checked to see if my arms are exposed, and if that's like, I assume it's a civilized society thing.
You're able to reduce the amount of skin you're showing by making some minor adjustments to your cloak.
So,
all right.
As that concludes, I come barreling down the street, drunk off my ass, screaming, "Where the fuck did that badger go? I'm gonna kill it. It bit my nipple."
Mike, you're unnecessarily Navying right now.
Damn straight.
All right. So the next day, you guys enter the chamber where the first council of Waterdeep was held. As you enter the chamber, you see many of the same people as before. You see Old Man Thunderspells, Sir Istvel, who was the person who there was that vote held to see if he'd be dismissed from the council due to his outside interests. You see the Emerald Enclave member, Delon Winterhound, Cassius, who was sort of spearheading your sentence. You see him speaking in sort of some hushed tones but excited gestures with King Melendrock, who was the elven emissary from the Misty Forest, Laven, who you wound up getting in a sort of an ethical debate with at the last council.
Right.
Also, from the Lord's Alliance, you see Conrad Braunanvil, the dwarf, Marshal Ravengard. You see at the head of the table, though, a bit of a change. Where once sat Lord Daggelt Neverember,
Daggelt
sits an older human woman wearing brilliant purple robes. She's sort of quietly regarding the room as Lord Neverember speaks to her right, instead of at the head of the table where he was last time. Sitting to his right is a sort of a middle-aged blonde woman who is nondescript in a way. She is sort of just like, you would see her and be like, that's a person, and go on. Like, she's not homely, she's not overly attractive, she's just your typical person. She's speaking with Lord Neverember, and her mannerisms seem slightly strange. It's almost as though this person is kind of working through a list of human mannerisms and just starting back at the top and working their way through. As people enter the chamber, everyone takes their seats, and Lord Neverember begins speaking. He says, although I have been short-sightedly supplanted by Lady Silverhand, I still lead this council. Adventurers, your efforts have helped the people of the Sword Coast tremendously, whether they realize it or not. Gaining the support of the Arcane Brotherhood has helped Mr. Hornblade, he points over to Thunderspells, gain the resources he needs to help us understand how the cult is achieving their goals despite their brutal nature. It appears the Red Wizards of Thay are helping them. This was corroborated by your second gift. Verum the White has told us incredible amounts of information regarding the hierarchy of the cult, as well as shed some light on their fell plans. My considerable forces, spread thin though they are at your back, adventurers. At this point, the woman at the head of the table, she stands. She says, I am no stranger to the horrors of war, and I am keenly aware that the lands represented by the Lords of Alliance need their soldiers for the protection of their own people. I believe that until we have more information on how far the cult is in their plans, that our actions need to be conservative and measured. Unnecessary bloodshed is not something we seek to gain. You see, during Lord Neverember's address and Lady Silverhand's address, you see Conrad Braunanvil, the dwarven emissary, member of the Lord's Alliance, getting increasingly frustrated, and kind of like he's listening, and as Lady Silverhand is finishing up, he just slams his hand down on the table. You hear his armor rattle as he does so, and he says, pardon my interruption, but we need to address the matter of the traitorous dwarf that has brought the rabble back with them. Matter of the traitorous dwarf that these rabble brought back with them. He must be made to stand trial in a court of dwarven law. Anything less is only further disrespect to my people. And there's kind of like a quiet that falls over the hall as people think about what the implications of that are.
Verum's a dwarf.
Yeah.
Yep.
Question, Ambassador. I believe you're correct. He needs to stand trial. And I feel your individual. Dwarven law is a very fair assessment here. What are we looking at as possible outcomes to this trial?
Well, he has forsaken his people to take up arms with dragons, to fraternize with dragons, and to seek that a dragon would destroy the Empire.
The main reason why I ask is I fear that a public trial and a public execution would do nothing more than just serve to send the masses into hysteria. I agree with you that he needs to stand justice, it needs to stand trial, but the question I have here is now the best time to make that trial public? Should we sit there and judge him now, and once we've dealt with the greater evil, then we deal with those who help rise the evil? My question is not what you do, but rather how we go about doing it, if you understand my concerns.
It's more, yeah, more of a
I'll just kill him right now. Problem solved.
Tony, enough.
no.
I like the way you talk, even though you're a fucking gnome.
Goliath.
Cassius, go ahead and make a persuasion check.
Another one at -1. 10.
10. All right. You see him mulling. Well, the execution won't be public. We'll be taking him back to the land of the dwarves deep in the mountains.
Good. But I also think that the trial should not be public. Keep it as a tribunal. Justice will be done, but unfortunately, this is one time where justice's face cannot be revealed.
Justice will be meted out.
Mm-hmm.
It will be swift, it will be vengeful, and it will be handled by the dwarves. And the dwarves will see it as a gift from the council.
Remind me not to mess with dwarves.
Where
Remind me
Don't
of
break
how-
dwarf law, man. Just
Yeah.
don't break bird law.
Where's
just remind me to
Verum at
apologize after.
right now?
Go ahead and make a perception check, Tony.
That is a 16.
16. He is not currently in the room. You know from traveling with him that he seems forthright in his motives to help you guys versus being turned back over to the cult and killed by Severin. However, and perhaps you can see this how you will, more wise, cowardly, whatever. They are keeping him separate from the cult, from the council. No need to involve unnecessary people who may in fact be easily accessed by the cult via divination magics.
Yeah, that'd be a shame if that worked.
So what I'm hearing is I should wander out of this room and start searching cells.
If you knew where the jail was.
Oh, I'm assuming it's somewhere in this building. Tony's gonna try and sneak out of the room.
Hey, Tony, you know what happens when you assume things in Dungeons and Dragons.
Make a stealth check, Tony.
Wow, this is bad. 10.
Clang, 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 clang.
You go to get down from the table. Your chair has been sort of lifted up so that you can be seen at the table, much like Ambassador Braun Anvil. But as you go to sort of push yourself away from the table so that your legs are no longer pinched underneath it, your chair is like, and Lord Neverember says, please, Mr. Pobar, stay your retribution.
Bathroom break.
Please hold all bodily fluids until after the meeting.
I'm gonna piss on your floor.
Just,
In barbarian culture, it's still a sign of disrespect.
at that time,
About sums up how he feels about the council right now.
Antharr Froom says, I don't view our new wizard friends as the panacea the rest of the council seems to. Helpful though they may be, the Arcane Brotherhood does not place its members in what does not police its members in what kinds of knowledge they pursue, and they tolerate many evil wizards in their company. While I think they have helped us out, we need to determine their motives and be wary of how much fraternization occurs.
Exactly what are you afraid of from these individuals? Evil or not, we are at an existential threat. We are at an impending doom to the life as we know it. I think most people, good, evil, lawful, chaos, will understand that if there is no tomorrow, there is nothing to go after 3 days from now.
Well, Doctor, I'm not saying you're wrong.
Then what are you saying?
I'm saying that maybe we don't place all of our eggs in one basket.
Well, who thought that was what was going to happen?
I mean, sometimes
Didn't
you
we
gotta
tell
put it all
them
on
from the
line.
beginning this was a bad idea to just do one small little bullshit thing? Instead, they should do a multi-front attack?
Yep, we said time to act.
So
Yeah.
it sounds like you're a bunch of dumbasses who do dumbass things and are now
Tony,
going, oh shit, we screwed up.
Tony. Making friends voice.
You're all stupid.
Thank you.
Laven, what were you saying? I couldn't
Thanks.
hear you over the din.
Yeah. Well, obviously you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, but sometimes you don't have a choice and you just have to put like, all your chips on the table.
Look, man, you have to know when to hold them.
I'm going to try and stealth away from this again.
Anthar looks at you with a look of respect because he is a gambling man. You wouldn't know that, Dr. Hole, but the rest of the party remembers the combination drinking / arm wrestling competition that him and Tony got into back in El Terrell.
Oh, and a reference works out for us.
I think some inspiration might be in order there.
Do I get an extra finger? Do I have 11 fingers now?
No, but you do have inspiration.
Wonderful.
Dylan Winterhound chimes in from his side of the table, his seat next to King Melandrock. He says, actually, hang on. I didn't write this because I was assuming that Dylan would be a person and I wouldn't have to do that.
But he is a person. How dare you?
So he says, I think that the council would be remiss if we did not send the adventuring party into the Misty Forest. Having lost the Black Dragon Mask and coming up lame on the White Dragon Mask, I think our next best step is to seek out the last remaining lone Worm Speaker. Now, the attacks have quieted down, but there is a Worm Speaker and his dragon companion in the Misty Forest that have been leading raids on elven villages. And at this time, King Melandrak cuts him off. He says, the ranger is overreacting, bordering on fear-mongering. The dragon attacks in the area have stopped since my elves have increased the patrols and fortified the positions. No meddling from outsiders is needed.
So wait. We're arguing about not putting all of our eggs in. But as soon as we sit there and have reliable information, Dragon Mask in the Misty Forest, we're like, oh, let's not go do that.
I vote for... Okay, party vote. Let's go metal. I'm in.
Yeah.
Let's pretend that we're people who stop Scooby-Doo villains.
Is it me? Maybe I'm not keeping track of the character, but isn't that just an elf saying he doesn't want people on his land, which kind of just goes with elves, right?
Laven, is this true?
Should I roll something?
Yeah, roll for elf.
Roll for racism? I don't know what the modifiers of that is. But no, Haggard, you are correct.
What I'm saying is, yeah, he's not going to want us there regardless of what we're doing. So we have our task at hand. Let's just,
Acts of aggression.
Big picture, we need to stop Tiamat from being summoned and reliable information that there is a Worm Speaker, Dragon, and Mask in this forest, and just because this guy says, oh no there isn't, doesn't mean it's true. I'm going to go with, I'd rather risk a socioeconomic, faux pas versus running the risk of not following a lead.
Allow me to sit there, Your Highness, and ask you one thing. When your knights try to take down a dragon, one dragon, how large are their forces need to be to take down said dragon, and what are the...
Sorry, who was that directed at?
King Melandrak.
Well, seeing as the dragon is no longer a threat in the area, the force required
no.
is none.
Hypothetically, whenever a dragon has assaulted one of your outlying towns, what are the forces needed to quell the attack? What are the losses after attacking the dragon? The fact that you need to think lets us know that the number is greater than. Okay, now imagine that dragon mask gets over to the caldera. They summon Tiamat, which is, from what I understand, the ruler of every colored dragon. Okay? So imagine one that is at least 5 times more powerful than that dragon. Can your knight stand up to that? Now we're asking for 4 individuals. If they die on your lands, who cares? To stop this dragon, to stop this warden speaker, preventing that dragon from happening. Why are you sitting there and telling us not to throw eggs in that basket?
I go to Hagrid and go, stupid elves can't even stop one dragon. They need Goliaths.
I gotta see something that I wrote down for. Or maybe I didn't.
This title of this episode: Dr. Cassius Hole gets arrested for contempt.
That's okay. I've been meaning to ask, how many times did Tony get threatened by the city guard for drunk in public?
How many days went by? 14? About 17 times.
How many guards am I on a first name basis with now?
Oh, there's 17 guards and 19 of them.
King Melindrak kind of do what you want. You're not beholden to anything or anyone anyway, so whatever you adventurers seek to do, just do it.
You see, now I feel like we're not friends.
He shoots kind of like a piercing glance at Leovan. Obviously, since you guys had that sort of altercation in the first session. At this point, though, the blonde woman seated to the right of Lord Neverember, she speaks up. She says, Laral Silverhand brings centuries of leadership, experience, and an impressive reputation to the negotiations. A consummate diplomat, she can wield words that wound or soothe with equal ease. I come with a different sort of request. I've already spoken with Lord Neverember and Lady Silverhand, and the Council of Dragons would like to invite you to sit at our table as well. She looks to the adventuring party.
Council of Dragons.
Why does this sound like a front for... We're the ones that are going to summon Tiamat.
Lord Neverember speaks up. He says, now, I understand your trepidation. Dragons are our enemy here. However, not all dragons bow to Tiamat.
This sounds like a bad idea.
This woman is actually a silver dragon.
What?
She bears an invitation from the metallic dragons who oppose Tiamat to a council of their own.
Interesting.
Hold on. Adventuring party aside.
Cover the microphone.
Yeah. Did you guys know that dragons can transform? I didn't.
I had no idea.
Oh my god, this is... So, wait. I'm still trying to wrap my head around this. They can transform? Holy shit.
Did you
Seems
know
oddly familiar.
the only good dragon is a dead dragon?
I mean, I feel that's not entirely true. Bahamut's kind of all over. All right, so...
If you're trying to protect some sort of facade there, Doctor, you're not doing a very good job of it.
Okay, so in my confusion here, I feel like I might let us on.
What I heard was we can go do what we want, fuck all the council, let's go find that worm speaker and the dragon in the forest. Who gives a rat's ass what the other dragons have to say? They'll come to our aid or not. They're like tree folk. Their conversations are long-winded, and they finally decided that they should have a conversation about it.
What?
First off, I greatly enjoy the Lord of the Rings reference, but second off, what better way to fight a dragon than to have dragons of our own?
Like I said, they'll figure it out eventually.
How do we know we can trust the dragons?
We don't, but we can at least hear them out before we make a decision.
Well, tell them to come with us while we go chase down that other mask, and they can fill us in as we go.
I'd probably spend my political capital for today. This might be somebody else's job.
I'll do it.
All right, there we go.
Well, I guess I have political capital.
I agree with Mr. Pobar in we do what we want to do, but I'm also intrigued enough to find out what this person brings to the table.
Mm-hmm. That's all I'm suggesting. So, Miss Everyday Regular Person.
Unremarkable in every regards.
Is this something that we continue in present company? Do you want to convene somewhere else?
I think the entire council should be apprised of what this dragon council has to say. It's only fair.
She says, well, you may call me Ilya, which is the name of my human disguise, or you may call me by my dragon name, which is Otari Leocarnos.
Ilya's good.
Atari Leocarnos.
I'm just gonna call you.
Atari Centipede got it.
At least it doesn't sound like a dolphin taking a shit.
Tony's not very fond of dragons. Or
You are
those
being
associated with
invited.
them.
You are being invited and have a chance to engage and debate some of Faerun's wisest and most powerful creatures.
Wisest, most powerful, still letting Tiamat come about.
Yeah. Show us some of your wisdom.
Yeah, trusted this whole thing to 4 jackwagons. Yeah, you're wise.
I mean, yeah, it's the council that, like our council of Never or Waterdeep, who sat there and trusted the realm to us 4 jackwagons.
I haven't heard these dragons trust it to anybody else.
Three of you, if you'd like to come.
And this is why you don't let Tony in a political situation when he's been on a 2-week alcoholic bender.
I thought the alcohol would have cleaned out all the bad ideas from your brain. Is that not how alcohol works?
They're more like fuel to the fire.
Well, should you choose to come, we will be in the Nether Mountains.
How long is the clock on this deal?
Well, you can come with me immediately, or you can come when you're ready. We will be there. We are dragons. We are eternal.
Hey.
With all due respect, I feel we cannot immediately take your offer. There is a artifact that the longer we wait on, the more likely it is to slip through our fingers.
What if they're willing to fly us to the elf forest and drop us off so we can spend like 2 days dealing with their political jockeying and then get to where we need to be within the next day? I feel like that would shorten our travel time.
How do we know that they won't actually be able to help us with that artifact?
I mean, yeah.
Just in terms of travel, if they're willing to facilitate our travel to where they need to go and then back where we need to go to find a dragon mask and expedite the process.
As unfamiliar as I am with the cult, I'm equally as unfamiliar with the map. Is this meeting place somewhere on the way to, or
So
through the misty forest to get there.
So I will say this. I have, despite my best efforts, been unable to locate the Misty Forest on this map. So I actually
the mist is too heavy.
I'm not sure where it is, which is potentially a political move by the elves to have their forest left off of the map of the region. The Nether Mountains, however, are about 600 miles from Waterdeep. They're in sort of the northeastern part of the map, but not before, but they are before you get to the like endless ice sea. I'm actually like pinging it right now.
Mm-hmm. I saw it.
Elia is willing to fly you on her back to the Nether Mountains, should you choose to go to the Council of Dragons. However, if you pursue other business first, which is entirely your right as a human,
Human, Goliath, elf.
As a mortal, it's entirely your right to seek your business first. That's entirely fine to organize your affairs. However, if you don't come with me immediately, I will not be willing to fly you there. I am leaving.
I say, well, how long... Do you know where the Misty Forest is? That's the important thing.
I don't know how to answer this question right now, Tony.
Well, do you, Corey, know where the Misty Forest is?
No, as I stated before, I have looked at this map over and over, and I cannot find the Misty Forest on the map.
It's there.
How do you know?
Because I looked it up on a different map.
Oh, okay.
Just so you know.
So, sure. Okay, cool. Thank you. So the Misty Forest is the forest region in between Daggerford and Succumber.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to Cucumber.
They go to what?
To Cucumber. It's their language for near Succumber.
Oh boy.
Because if she can, like, how long of a flight time is it to your home?
Should you travel with me, it would be roughly 2 days from Waterdeep to the Nether Mountains.
So then we're probably looking at a day and a half back to the Misty Forest, if she knows where it's at.
She knows where it's at.
So how long would it be from Nether Mountains to Misty Forest?
Yeah, I think we're going down a very weird logic line here.
Yeah.
You're also making a rather large assumption that someone's going to be willing to fly you from the Nether Mountain to the Misty Forest to deal with the elves.
Well, no, that's my point. Is if she's not willing to do it, we might as well say fuck all. Go if we can figure out where the Misty Forest is at. Go to the Misty Forest and then go deal with the dragon fuckers.
But I think our first priority right now is trying to keep that last dragon mask.
So by that statement, then you think we should go to the forest first?
I think it is more pressing. Is we can always sit there. Once we get the artifact, we should be able to disrupt what the cult is trying to do long enough to convene with the dragons. Whereas if we convene with the dragons first, we can't slow down the cult's time clock.
So, off to Misty Forest. Fuck the elves.
Then it's settled. Elia, the party will join you in the Nether Mountains when they are ready. Very well. And she just kind of, crosses her arms and waits for the meeting to be over. Do you guys have anything else that you'd like to bring up at the council?
Where's the Misty Forest? We've agreed to go somewhere that I don't think any of our characters actually know where it's at.
Don Wonderhowdy says, we'll catch up after the meeting.
Perfect.
Are you guys actually going to devote any more resources to solving, like, apocalyptic level problem?
Yeah, like, just imagine that this is a day after tomorrow type event, and everyone's the vice president.
So essentially, Laven, from the first council that the cult is doing shit basically all over Waterdeep. People are being, villages are being slaughtered in the name of the cult. The Lord's Alliance, the Harpers, the Order of the Gauntlet, the Emerald Enclave are all spread thin as it stands, protecting their current interests and gathering and being an information net for the side of good for you guys, essentially. So when essentially you guys have inferred, and it has been inferred, that when the time comes to make a singular swift action against the cult, those resources will be pooled.
Okay.
So they're going to be useless till the time comes that then they decide maybe we'll do something.
Yes, it's very Lord of the Rings.
It's very Mass Effect 3-ish.
Very, hey, we could just have flown the Eagles to Mordor.
It's not that simple.
How many times do we have to tell you it's not that simple, Mike?
Okay. So is that all?
Yeah.
Okay. I
got one last question.
Yeah.
Lord Neverember, from Akath, the Crimson.
Mm-hmm.
Any word on her progress?
I have not heard from Akath herself. However, the Arcane Brotherhood has pledged their resources when the time comes, and they have been they've been very helpful with thunder spells in what the Red Wizards of Thay roles may be in raising Tiamat.
I have something I'd like them to investigate as well. We found a couple of devices that were paired with arcane energy that offer severe harm. Nearly took out our party when the Black Dragon Mask was relieved from us. If there's any way they can investigate ways to protect us from these arcane devices, that would be greatly appreciated.
Arcane devices, you say? As thunder spells.
Fuck you, Arts Climber.
Sort of old man drifting off during the council meeting, but at the mention of powerful arcane devices,
The farts.
The old wizard farts himself awake and chimes in. I'll gladly take those off your hands and investigate them alongside my contacts with the Arcane Brotherhood.
All right, Leovan, you can please give the elder wizard the device. You're the one that picked it up because you wanted to learn how it worked.
I dig around.
If you pull a badger out, so help me God.
Badger.
And I throw a football. No, I'll dig it out.
So you do surrender the artifact to thunder spells?
I'm sorry, what? Thunder spells?
Yeah, that's his name. His his nickname is Thunder Spells.
Is it because he farts all the time?
In the journal.
He's always casting Thunder Wave at the 10th level.
In the journal that you guys have, that is where's his name?
At the bottom of Council Waterdeep.
Okay, yeah.
Is it bad that I feel like the council is intentionally withholding valuable information because the Misty Forest is actually on the way to the Serpent Hills?
I'm going to reluctantly hand over the artifact.
Thank you, Master Elf. This is, and it kind of like clinks as he's like looking at you. This is very interesting.
And it goes off again. The entire council dies.
And that's our cue.
Tony, what were you saying about the council withholding information?
Well, if they knew about a dragon and worm speaker in the Mist Forest, the Serpent Hills are kind of past the Mist Forest.
Okay, but they also didn't know that you were going to the Serpent Hills. Nobody knew.
But they could have given us all the information up front.
You're just gonna tell us about where everything is,
Yeah.
everywhere.
Tell
Once
us
again,
all of
they-
the information about the
So-
cult you have right
Tell
now.
me, Raven Guard, where's the best taco stand in Waterdeep?
Yes.
So obviously, King Melandrock is suppressing things in the Misty Forest, as he has been from the get-go. Also, so the tip that you were given about Verum the White came from Leosin, not a member of the council.
So it sounds like
And
Leosin is the
and
most
the tip
competent
sent
member.
you to Tribor at Borskir Bridge, which then led you to the Serpent Hills. So the council didn't know you were going to the Serpent Hills.
But what I'm thinking is that the king is intentionally suppressing information and helping the dragon cult facilitate getting masks and essentially supporting them through omission.
There's
So
a
could you
number of
also-
logical leaps that you're making to get to that.
I'm
So
also
you could be
thinking as
suppressing
Tony
information
Pobar.
Yeah.
Is this so? That's my question. Is this whiskey fueled conspiracy theory or?
or something stronger.
It is a whiskey foil hat. I don't know
Yes.
if that's ever existed before, but it's a hat made out of whiskey bottles.
If there was one of those beer hats that existed in D&D, I would be wearing it right now, and it'd be covered in aluminum foil.
Question, Tony, have you ever taken the D&D equivalent to meth?
Maybe. I haven't exactly been conscious the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. Tony, I'll make you this concession. We may not know what we find in the Misty Forest, but whatever happens, if it tries to kill us, we'll kill it first. Is that something we can agree upon?
I'm gonna kill all of those dragon cult fuckers and then brand their corpses.
All right, cool. Not what I was suggesting, but I feel like that's as close as we're gonna.
Yeah.
I will tell you this, anyone who is found associating with them, they will die. Tony does not
great.
appreciate being stolen from.
Great, we've got a zealot on our hands.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the council convenes. Ilya leaves.
Can I watch her transform? I want to see how that works.
At some point during the day, you do see a large silver dragon flying over Waterdeep to the north.
Silver hand, silver dragon. Ah. If you find somebody named Bronze Tooth, I'm going to ask them to change into dragon as well.
As you guys are leaving the meeting hall, Leosin comes by. Tony, Cassius, Hagrid, you guys are now able to see or catch a glimpse of Leosin's sort of withered arm. And comes by and says, well, you're going deep into the territory of the elves. I wish you luck, as many of us will not be able to help you. The elves are rather selective in who they allow in their forests.
Yeah, you act like they're gonna have a choice.
If there was anyone who would not be stopped in entering somewhere, it would be you, Mr. Pobar.
Avanti!
Listen, if you don't mind, what's going on? Have you fallen ill?
This. He sort of fiddles with his robes to cover his arm up. He says, well,
At that point, I roll up my sleeves and show my wounds as well, just to sit there and say, it's like, just friend asking another friend.
You see the sort of assistance that I've lent you is rather taxing. So I will do everything I can to be of aid to you in the future. But just know that my assistance has a cost.
Listen, We'll need you for the last day. Please make sure that you're well by then. Just remember that a final battle is coming, and we'll need you for that. Don't worry about us until then. Just get well yourself.
I appreciate the sentiment. However, if something as pressing as what I've contacted you about in the past comes up, well, there's no reason to waste time we don't have delivering messages waiting for you to get to Waterdeep.
Sure, there's someone else that can do it. We need your mind, not necessarily your magic at this point.
Well, we'll see which situations call for what. I bid you good luck and good travels. I have business I must attend to.
Tony just got an idea.
So, as you guys see Leosin depart, Delon comes up to you guys, says, there you guys are. I've been looking for you a little bit. Not that this one here, points to Haggard, doesn't stick out a bit in civilized circles. Now, I'd be remiss if I sent you into the Misty Forest without giving you information on what exactly I believe it is you're up against. Now, King Melindrak wasn't wrong. Under his command, the elves of the Misty Forest have stepped up their defenses, and the cult attacks for the time being have ceased. Now, Melindrak believes the threat has ended, but his son, Alagarthus, he disagrees. Prince Alagarthus has used the Emerald Enclave to search for clues to the source of the raids, and they have learned that an elf seen with the green dragon appeared to command the beast. Now, both Prince Alagoth and myself.
Hold on a second. Just question to the DM. Did you say like an elf with the green dragon mask is with the beast, or an elf with the green dragon?
Elf with the green dragon. Beast. They have not.
Okay.
There's no specific reports about the mask. Mm-hmm. However, it is, it's a man commanding a dragon.
Logical leap is there. Yeah. Humanoid.
So both Prince Alagarthus and myself believe that more attacks are imminent, and that the Green Dragon's master might in fact be one of the worm speakers of the cult. Now, the Emerald Enclave's agents, as with other factions, the Emerald Enclave's agents have been working with the support of Prince Alagarthus to prevent a new round of attacks. With my agents already scattered throughout the Misty Forest, I'd like you to travel to one of the few dragon-raided settlements left standing in the aftermath. A village called Altland. I inserted an L there that didn't exist. Altland. My belief that the mysterious master of the Green Dragon, if that belief is true, if he's a worm speaker, the survivors of Alton might know something that'll help us find him. Now, I'm not going to leave you into uncharted for yourselves, at least waters on your own. I intend, me and my companion intend to travel with you into the Misty Forest. That way, at least you have a friendly face.
Totally. You sure?
If what I suspect to be true is in fact true, you guys need all the help you can get. We can't afford to let another dragon mask slip away.
Very well.
Ouch.
I mean that with the utmost respect, Haggard. It's no slight on your behalf. We underestimated the cults, how far their reach went, how deep their resources were.
Very well. The main reason why I asked is if there's a way for us to get help that didn't explicitly involve a member of the council, we would have taken that, but we need every hand on deck. I guess beggars can't be choosers, and who steps up for their aid?
Well, being honest with you, I'm not one for city living. And being a part of this council is probably one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever done in my life.
Hey, that seems like a friend of you. As I look to Laven.
Yeah, I like this guy.
Now, Doctor,
Hey,
you have a minute to speak privately.
I want to check if his arms are exposed.
They're not exposed. They are. So you can see his arms as his cloak moves.
I'm not sure if I trust that he's really not from Cindy.
Make an insight check.
14.
The state of his cloak, and like sort of like the mud on his boots would indicate that he is being truthful, that he's not.
Okay.
Or it's raining outside.
Is it raining?
So yeah, Doctor, you have a minute to speak privately.
Gentlemen, may we have the room?
It's a little big to take with you, isn't it?
Come on, Tony. Let's go get some more of
Perfect. I have an idea for
As I
Hagrid
just nod to Hagrid. There we go. That's the camera. I just said thank you.
So, Mr. Hole.
Dr. Hole.
I didn't spend 8 years in evil medical.
Oh, perfect.
That's fucking inspiration. That is inspiration right there.
That's fucking brilliant.
Fuck. That was good.
Oh my god.
I think I know what's going to come on the board next week. All right, go ahead.
I have an ulterior motive in joining you in your party on this quest. And I believe you understand what that motive is.
I might have an inkling, but let's see if I'm right or not. What is it?
You know that your appointment to this adventuring party is no mere coincidence, correct?
That was obvious, and that's what I was afraid of. Is you're checking to see that I'm actually making good on the task.
It brings the Enclave discomfort in knowing that despite the fact that you've been sent on this suicide mission, that you are in fact unchecked in your activities.
Very well.
Now, the fact that you in fact returned from the Serpent Hills and brought the dwarf with you has certainly extended the leash. Now, I don't want you to think of me as your warden on this adventure, because I'm not.
That's what you aim to be.
I'm just keeping an eye on you. Maybe the hand that stays the blade in an instance or two, but given your successes with this party, I don't think that's going to need to be an issue.
So there's a few questions I have. The first one is this. You sit there and feel like I need monitoring, but you trust the party to monitor, but yet you're still here attempting to survey.
As I said, it's a secondary motive. It's a win-win situation for the Enclave for me to accompany you to the Misty Forest.
The next question I have is, if you really thought that was fate, I would sit there, do a mission or two for the good of civilization, and then choose to run away. I'm in for a penny. I'm in for a pound right now. So why now would I be looking to escape my fate?
Well, I never meant to insinuate that I thought that you were a flight risk.
But by the way, I kind of noticed here. Laven's been in this room the entire time. He never said he left.
Why is there this strange badger here?
Hi guys.
I mean, did you actually intentionally not leave the room, Laven?
I've already spoken it into existence, apparently.
I didn't want to leave. You said doctors.
I guess he's here.
All right, Laven, why don't you go ahead?
Have had all of that conversation without me, though.
Let's have you make a stealth check.
Okay. Ooh, yeah.
1 billion.
He did not notice that you had not left the room. You're standing in a bit of a blind spot, apparently.
Right to the side of each of us, and we're just locked and stare with each other.
At that time, Delon looks a little closer at Cassius's eyes and see them going over his shoulder from time to time. He turns around. What exactly is it you're? Well, shit. I guess the cat's out of the bag now.
It's gonna make news one day.
Oh, you want a cat from a bag? Let me see if I can.
No. It's an expression.
Oh, okay.
I see that you're a man of the forest as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a slight. He says that you're sneaky as fuck.
Was that racist about elves?
It's one of those self-hating elves.
As a half elf, I'm used to everything I say being determined racist by one half or the other.
That holds up.
Get that from dwarves. So what's the deal here, guys?
Well, are you going to tell him or am I?
By all means, you tell him what's fit to tell. I'll fill in the details.
Like, you're not gonna have to kill me, right?
Only if you want to.
I'll kill you after if you so requested, but being privy
finally something we agree on.
Being privy to this information does not require your life, no.
Death by badger?
Y'all keep mentioning a badger. I'm not really sure where this is coming from.
You don't want to know. Laven.
I guess not in a confined space.
Yeah. What he's trying to tell you is that my participation in this journey hasn't exactly been voluntary. It's been self-serving, but not necessarily voluntary. Dalen, you want to tell him the rest?
Your compatriot here being appointed to your party was no mere coincidence. As I'm sure you have by now noticed in your adventure, in your travels with him, a lot of his powers are not what we would deem natural.
Yeah, he cut off his arm one time.
That happened.
And he's got a little stub now.
No, it's all back.
It's a little stubby, is all I'm saying.
Would you like a shovel, Doctor? to better dig yourself this hole.
No, I'm doing just fine on my own.
You don't say. Now, it's not necessarily the unnatural nature of his abilities that has him sent on whatever suicide mission it is that you four are on.
Let's not use the suicide word around that.
Are we committing suicide?
Well,
Yeah, the dragon's being made in Jonestown.
well, you have to understand the incredible odds that you were up against.
I don't know anything about odds.
All right. Let me make this simpler. Laven, I have been arraigned for a crime. I am currently on trial for said crime. Does that make sense so far?
I'm with you.
Okay. If I die, then I'm guilty.
That, I guess, makes no sense, but that's okay.
It's called trial by task. Please don't ask me to tell you what happened. Wound's still a little too fresh, but I am at fault, and I have been given an insurmountable task. If for some reason I succeed, I'm declared innocent of my charge, and I get to go live my regular everyday life again. In the much more likely event that I fail, well, my guilt follows me into the afterlife.
Right?
Make sense?
I think so.
Can I trust you to keep this between us?
As long as it doesn't become a problem that affects the group.
Fair enough, but I feel like I've done enough to prove myself as a solution to problems.
Right, you've certainly been useful.
I'm not like a little red tiefling trolling around the jungles trying to jump into the water to kill crocodiles.
That was an oddly specific reference.
Sometimes they have to be specific for you to get it.
Yeah, tieflings are weird, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, again, you've definitely proven yourself useful thus far. Just if you put the rest of us at risk, then I'll have to tell everybody what's going on.
That'll never be my intent. All right. So we've got me, the party, a jailkeeper over here, and a green dragon mask. Shall we away? And as I believe that the gnomes who believe they're Goliaths say Avanti? Or is it Alonze?
Avanti.
Gesundheit.
Oh my god, everybody's here.
Did anybody leave?
Hagrid and Tony did say they were leaving to
Yeah.
get drunk.
All right. So, seeing as how the council session was at about midday, and those things take time, as most political/bureaucratic things do, that the brief rendezvous with Leosin and the conversations between the group and Delon and Cassius and Leovan and Delon, it'll be the next day when you guys set out for the Misty Forest.
As the party, meets back up, I'm gonna basically just be finishing up with Hagrid going, and that's why I think I should learn how to play the bagpipes.
I have no comment.
Is there anything that you guys want to do before shutting down for the evening?
I did want to run this idea past the magic users. So, there's a spell that allows you to talk with people far away. Maybe we should invest in it at some point or another in some shape or form. So that way we can keep calling these council dumbasses and be like, okay, what information haven't you told us yet?
So why can't we just buy magical walkie-talkies instead? Because I feel like that's going to be easier for.
I'm just saying, we should probably keep in touch with these dumbasses who keep lying to us.
Remind me to look into this magic walkie-talkie thing.
Mm-hmm. Hey Siri, remind us to find magical walkie.
Anybody who's listening to this, their phone just chirped.
I'm sorry, I couldn't find any magical walkie-talkies.
Here's what I found for walkie-talkies in the magic shops.
Are you talking about walkie-talkies or Magic the Gathering?
Nope, but I got nothing else that I'd really like to do.
No, I can't think of anything.
I've got my arm back, so I'm happy. I'm gonna do a whole bunch of two-handed things like solve Rubik's Cube.
All right. So as you guys depart, it's probably about I'd say it's going to be like a 2-day journey to get to Altend from Waterdeep by foot or horse or whichever. As you guys get to the Misty Forest, you can see as you approach it, you see a vast woodland concealed by thick mist and rain. Enormous spruce trees dominate the northern end of the forest where you guys are entering at. As you go into the forest, you notice that the mist is omnipresent. Pretty much all outdoor areas in the forest are lightly obscured by the mist. As you...
Do we feel any effects from this mist?
No, you do not need to make a Constitution saving throw.
Do I feel angry or do I feel like a
Insane.
primate at all?
It is also not Mad Monkey Mist.
Okay. It's not the triple M, guys. We're good. Do I feel like I just spent a lot of time at a Dave Matthews?
No.
Good.
Oh,
thank God. I don't much care for jam bands. Does Tony get the hankering to eat dirt?
We're going to make tea out of it.
So as you guys enter the misty forest, and you're noticing that this mist is very omnipresent. Delon tells you a little bit while you're walking to Altend about Altend. Says Altend is primarily a wood elf settlement, blending almost seamlessly into the forest around it. So keep your eyes peeled; you might miss it. The village exists on 2 levels, with a few structures built on the ground around an ancient monument to an elven ranger. Residences and the village temple are built into the upper boughs of the forest. Is it boughs? I feel like that's a word that we came across. B-O-U-G-H. Is that bow?
I thought it was pronounced bows.
It's burrows, like neighborhoods in New York City.
I think we came to that conclusion when playing Destiny that time, didn't we?
Yeah. So we're in Forest, Brooklyn. Okay.
The elves string rope bridges between these sites and construct circular walkways around trees.
So it's like an Ewok village.
Like many other settlements raided by the dragon, pulley-operated platforms connect the 2 levels of the village and provide an excellent defense against the orcs that are occasionally entering the forest as an alternative to raiding human settlements along the tradeway. Unfortunately, however, these defenses proved a death trap against a flying dragon, leaving many elves unable to reach the ground quickly enough to escape. Of the 300 residents of the village of Altend, more than half survived the raid. A very different outcome than at other raided settlements where the dragon hunted and killed the elves to the last adult and child. Many residents of Altend were on the ground when the attack came. Of the elves in the upper level of the village, many died of the dragon's poisonous breath while waiting to descend, or fell to their deaths as bridges and walkways collapsed under the weight of the panic. So as you guys come into the village of Altend, you do see a ruined forest village. Many of the constructions that Delon mentioned that are in the upper tier of the village are destroyed or barely serviceable as buildings. Most of the ground structures are intact, although several of them have seen quite a bit of damage from the attack and from falling rubble and debris. It doesn't quite have Finding Private Ryan in the French village sort of feel to it, but it's pretty close. Essentially what it comes down to is you guys are going to need to ask around to learn information about the attack.
So start felling trees and wait for the elves to show up.
No, you're in the village.
Oh, I don't want to deal with elves anymore. They're pretentious assholes.
Hey.
You go deal with them. They're your kind.
Make some comments about your kind.
Yeah, there's nothing you can say that will upset a Goliath.
What about something smaller than a Goliath?
Not my concern. I am of Goliath origin.
I just look around at the group.
I feel like we keep coming back to this conversation, and I don't know why.
You'll figure it out one day.
Thought it was fairly evident that I am a Goliath. How have you not noticed? Alright, I'm just going to start felling trees. Somebody will come along eventually.
No, you guys need to ask questions.
Yeah, exactly. I need to find somebody, so I'm going to start felling trees.
Okay, God damn it, Tony. You're in the fucking village. There are 150 elves around you.
Yeah, it's easier if they come to me.
Why would they come to you?
Because I'm cutting down trees.
I'm gonna mute you. Also, you don't even have anything to cut down trees.
Hand axes.
Oh
And
my
I still
God.
have that great axe.
You know how long it's gonna take you to cut down a tree? To even make a dent in a tree that is an elf village tree?
Didn't say I was going for a big one now, did I?
Don't mess with elves' trees.
So I'm just gonna start screaming, "Hey, elf people, dragon issue, we're here to fix. Tell me stuff."
What do you want to know?
Where's the dragon at? Where's the asshole who supposedly is tied to this dragon? And where's Prince What's-His-Nuts because he doesn't believe his father's bullshit?
Did anyone recognize this person that was commanding this dragon? Has anyone seen him before?
So some people claim to have seen a cultist riding atop the dragon. Most refer to the dragon rider as human, like the other cultists that came through the village. However, a few people report that the figure moved with the grace of an elf.
By any chance, do you know where the nest for this dragon is?
No one in the village can say where they saw the dragon go after the attack. It lasted only a short while, and then the dragon unexpectedly retreated. The cultists... So the dragon swooped down and attacked the ground first.
Mm-hmm.
Nearly half of the village's victims died during that first assault.
How did they die?
They were eaten or perished in the beast's poisonous breath.
Laven, that probably means that your poison attacks won't work.
We'll see about that.
What's the tree cover like here?
Um,
You said very dense, correct?
yeah,
How did the dragon break the tree cover?
because it's a dragon.
Yeah, by being a dragon.
But I'm just thinking in terms of if the trees are large enough to handle numerous elf housing, they're packed densely together. At a certain point, the dragon would lose enough velocity that it would meet the ground.
Yeah, it came to the ground. It said that it attacked on the ground first.
Ah, so it walked in?
It swooped down and attacked on the ground first.
Interesting. Why would it attack on the ground? Seems like it loses the tactical advantage of flight.
Tony, I think you're overreading what a dragon can and cannot.
Humans in the regalia of the cult of the dragon followed the dragon, killing everyone they found. Our village priest stepped out to lead others in fighting the dragon, but the beast swallowed him whole.
Do you know which way they took off towards?
The attack lasted only a short while, and then the dragon unexpectedly retreated. The cultists followed, but as they fled, they took nothing of value from the village. Delon tells you that this is a stark contrast to the dragon's other raids, which were focused on capturing treasure.
Still doesn't answer the question that was asked, though.
No one in the village can give you that answer.
What direction did the cultists go?
There was too much chaos. Let me.
Can we investigate to see if there's a if a detachment of cultists came around, that means there would have to be obvious tracks in the direction they came from and the direction they went. If we had somebody who could track, they might be able to help us follow them.
Track, you say?
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that.
Tracks. Go ahead and make an investigation check.
Ooh, I can do that.
Probably could do great at that.
That is an 8 + 5, 13.
There are too many footsteps and trails created by people doing their work in and around Alton. You can't discern a specific direction.
So what I do instead is I start working around the periphery of towns and see if there's an exit that has been more heavily used compared to the others.
Okay. So that's going to take you some time to accomplish.
That's fine.
Is there anything that anyone else would like to do during the time Cassius is attempting to?
I got 2 things I'd like to do.
Mm-hmm.
One, I would like to commune with nature and see if there are any areas within 3 miles that would facilitate a green dragon's existence.
Okay.
The other one is speak with any animals in the area and see if they have any information about dragon's current location or that of large groups of humanoids beyond the elves that seem to be abnormal or relatively new to the area.
Okay. Laven, what would you like to do?
I'm gonna check for tracks and whatnot.
Do you do the same thing as Cassius?
Yeah. So I don't think I have any special thing in this. Yeah.
Okay. Hagrid, is there? So Cassius and Laven are both gonna be out around?
I was listening.
Okay. Is there anything that you would like to do? Any lines of questionings you would like to pursue?
I really am drawing a blank right now. I don't understand why, but sorry.
Okay. All right. So, Cassius, go ahead and make another investigation check.
17 plus 5, 22.
22. Okay. You see, footprints, in a larger number, leading deeper, so like sort of southeasternly deeper into the misty forest. They're not all on the trails. It appears that maybe there were too many people at once to all fit on the trail.
Mm-hmm.
Laven, are you also just looking for tracks?
That was the only idea I had.
Okay. Where are you looking for tracks?
What are the options?
Well, so Cassius looked around in Altend to try to discern a direction of travel for anyone who might have come through, and then decided to go around Altend to figure out sort of different volumes of usage on the footpaths in and around Altend.
Yeah. Basically, I was just trying to figure out where the direction of the attack came from, because that might give us a camp.
Okay. Let me do. I think I have this. I don't have that.
All right, we'll circle back around, Laven. Tony, so you were communing with plants, right?
Nature.
Communing with nature. And you said 3 miles?
Yeah, it's a 3-mile radius.
Okay. Nature is unable to give you a location within a 3-mile radius for a potential dragon's lair.
Okay. What about the animals?
Can you read me how that spell works?
All right. Speak with animals. You gain the ability to comprehend and verbally communicate with beasts for the duration. The knowledge and awareness of many beasts is limited by their intelligence, but at a minimum, a beast can give you information about nearby locations and monsters, including whatever they can perceive or have perceived within the past day. You might be able to persuade a beast to perform a small favor for you at the GM's discretion.
Okay. Go ahead then and make an investigation check for me to find said woodland creature to
13.
13. Okay. You do manage to, during your fumbling through the woods, find a small finch that you're able to commune with. And so, what do you ask the finch?
If he's noticed any creatures other than elves besides, me and my immediate party in the area that are humanoid.
Not in the immediate area, no.
Within your immediate memory?
Which is what, the last day?
Yeah, last day.
Um, No, he does not recall anything out of the ordinary in the last day.
Well, then, if you notice anything out of the ordinary, I would appreciate you find me, and we shall speak again.
It chirps in agreement.
Thank
Just to let
you.
you guys know, Tony is more deferential to birds than he is to political.
Yes.
He doesn't like most people. Not unlike me.
And most people don't like him either.
Exactly. Not unlike me.
All right. Laven, have you thought of a course of action?
I guess I was looking like specifically for signs of dragon.
There is a large sort of, there's a very singular large hole in the canopy where you assume that the dragon probably descended from the sky.
Okay. And can I get any sense of direction? That
Make
would have,
make make a nature check.
Well, I rolled a 20. Nature's 1.
Okay. It looks as though, based on the sun, the angle of the sort of wreckage in the trees, it looks as though maybe the dragon came from the east.
And which way did the path I find come from?
It looked like south, like sort of deeper into the woods.
Okay. All right.
So I mean, if you put your heads together,
Attack
get-
from multiple directions.
you get multiple directions, but also you know that dragons, they can circle and things like that. So it might have come in from a different angle.
Laven, you're getting the feeling that this was an absolute blitzkrieg. They're trying to cause as much commotion as they can, get in, get out.
Something like that is what I'm thinking.
But with reports from the other ones where they came and stole things, what's different about this town? What made them leave early?
There are elves here, and elves are scary.
There's elves in every village they attacked.
What were they looking for?
As I found, was like, what is the most valuable thing in town, and what is worth protecting above all else?
Well, who you guys think? Who you guys think's in charge in this town? Like, I mean, they said that we were told that the village priest stepped out and tried to lead others in fighting the dragon, but got eaten himself. Does that leave some sort of power vacuum in the village? Do you guys think the village priest runs these things if he was trying to lead people?
Was that Dalen asking an NPC?
No, that's brainstorming with the party.
I mean, it's one of those things. I'm getting the sense here. They brought in a full invasion force. They brought in numbers insurmountable and a tactical advantage. There had to be something in this town that made them different.
So, in the attack, who has been accounted for dead and who hasn't, and who has left the village before the dragon attack started that has some kind of emotional attachment to said village?
I did not follow that at all, Tony.
So, if before the dragon attack started, somebody had left this village and hasn't been seen since, odds are that if they are in command of the dragon, they have an emotional attachment to this village, so they would have halted the attack. Especially if their emotional attachment is to a person who lives here and they became under immediate threat.
Then why attack the village in the first place?
Because they still have obligations to the cult. So it's either die
Then
by
why
the
not
cult.
take anything?
Again, emotional attachment to the village.
I think there's a simpler explanation.
Which is?
Dragons be crazy.
I don't know. What if there's something we don't know about that allowed them to repel the...
Was the priest protecting something?
what if we look in the? There has to be some sort of record here. Something for posterity. There has to be a reason. We don't know it right now, but I'm sure somebody in this town.
Well, I mean, if the village priest stuck out in people's memory for stepping out and leading others, is there anyone since then who has been, I mean, who is keeping morale together here in the wake of this attack?
Good question. Who's in charge now?
So is that your question to the NPCs?
Yep.
The people of the village. So you're able to ascertain that with the priest dead, the village's warden, Galen, has become the leader of Altend. Though he was in the thick of the fight, he survived unscathed and has been a potent force for rallying survivors.
Sounds like the person we need to talk to.
Agreed.
You used your cake voice. So as you sort of ask around to find Galen, the village folk describe him as a rallying force for the survivors, and that he appears to be suffering from the weight of his new leadership role and the deaths of more than 100 villagers, including his own wife. In response to any questions about Galen, the character, you guys are directed to his residence in the upper boughs of the village. So as you work your way into the upper boughs of the village, you find Galen's residence, and stepping into a modest dwelling suspended among iron-strong boughs, you enter a cozy sitting room. A slim elf sits at a desk, standing to greet you with a forced smile as a raven perched in a cage nearby caws hideously. Welcome to our village. How can I be of service?
Tell us of the dragon attack and all that has transpired since.
He tells you that the dragon swooped down and took out people on the ground first. And that his wife was killed in that first assault, and then men wearing purple robes and he describes it. He describes what they were wearing. You guys recognize it as cult regalia.
Okay.
They entered the village shortly after the dragon first landed and began massacring anyone they saw. Our village priest, he stepped out to lead people fighting the dragon, but was shortly eaten alive. Now, some people in the village say they saw someone riding the dragon, as unlikely as that might be. A lot of people say that it was a human, like the other people who came into the village. However, there's some people say that the person had some elf-like qualities.
Being awesome.
The attack itself is very quick. It's almost as though the beast came, caused a riot, and left in a flash. And all that was left was death and destruction and ruin and sadness.
Emo poetry, apparently.
We are truly saddened by your loss of your beloved. What can you tell us about the priest who also died?
Well, he was a good man. He was the leader of our village for many moons. He was the first to lead the rallying cry. It's not a fitting end to a man such as himself.
Do you feel as though he was singled out? Was he a source of a particular part of this attack?
What exactly are you implying?
Was the priest dispatched because of something he was doing or something he was hiding? Particular potential he had was opposed to this cult.
I believe he was eaten by the dragon because he was fighting the dragon.
It's the simplest explanation. He was there, so he was bitten. It still doesn't answer the question as to why the tactic changed.
Make an insight check.
What's my insight score? Is it +6 like I think it is? It is. That's a 17.
You get the feeling that everything he's telling you is true, but there might be more that he knows that he's not letting on.
All right, so this attack changed quickly. The dragon may have been a distraction for what the horde was sent in to find or steal.
Mm-hmm. Get the feeling that you're telling us half a story, hoping we stop asking. What is it that you don't want to share?
I watched that beast devour my wife, and I was powerless to do anything to help her.
Does or did the village have anything of significant value that would be of interest to a dragon or somebody seeking a strong magical power?
They already said they took nothing.
That they are aware of up front. I'm asking if there is any kind of an item or object that exists within this village that could be of interest of somebody seeking power.
I've not been a part of a dragon-led raid before in my time. I don't know what they were here for. I don't know what they were after. I don't know that they took anything. I don't think they did.
Do yourself and the rest of your town a favor. Inventory everything. See if there's anything missing. Something strange with this, but I guess we're not going to learn any more than we already have. Our only hope is to follow the cult and see what we can learn about the Green Dragon Mask.
Before we leave, would we be allowed to investigate the priest's chambers?
Fair idea.
I don't see what harm it could do.
Yeah, so I'll go in and I'll investigate. And that is a 21.
All right. So as you look around the priest's chambers, you do a pretty thorough tossing of it.
Respectfully, of course.
Yeah.
Respectful tossing.
Hold on a second. I'm giving Tony. I'm giving you some information that I missed before because I didn't read below that because I didn't realize it was going to be out of order like that. This is information that you got during your commune with plants. Speak with plants stuff. Cassius, as you respectfully toss the priest's residence
with deference,
with respect, deference, the utmost of care. You don't see anything out of the ordinary for what you would think you would see in a priest's residence. There's different tomes in languages. There is
Ooh, I know languages.
what do you speak Elvish at all?
I do not, but we do have an elf in the party.
That would
Right. So
I speak
so you
Elvish.
see tomes written in what you believe to be Elvish script.
Mhm.
You don't see anything other than like an altar to one of the elven gods in the chamber that is even looks like it would draw attention to it.
Did he keep a journal?
You guys do find a journal. However, so you find a journal because of how high your investigation check was. However, in the journal is mostly about like comings and goings in the village, the priest's concerns over some villagers, personal plights and things like that, and sort of coming up with ideas how he can help various people with their problems.
Nothing about any suspicious characters.
Nothing about a band of ne'er-do-wells rolling into town and
Or
don't give
even-
up this.
or
We're
even
going to
one.
send a dragon down.
I mean, it was only one guy controlling the
Mhm.
one suspicious character.
Tony, did you get a chance to read that?
Yeah, I've just been letting everybody discuss. So, guys, I got some information from talking to trees.
Oh, did you?
What were you smoking to talk to a tree?
Other plants. But I need to go talk to Galen's raven and see if he'll give me anything. But the trees have told me that Galen's been sneaking off into the woods at night with his bird. So I can go talk to the bird and see if it'll tell me anything. And if not, we can just interrogate Galen. And he's been doing it at night.
Okay.
But the trees in the media area don't have enough information to say where he's going. They just say that he has been moving through them.
And with that revelation, guys, we're going to end this week's session. I'm sorry that there was no combat this week.
We made up for it in Tomb of Annihilation.
Yeah. Hopefully.
I want to show my last new shirt.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it's probably the most appropriate.
Lawful good does not always mean lawful nice. I love it.
Love it.